Good evening, everyone. I'm getting ready to make my next recipe from this Beetlejuice cookbook. I am going to make dancing denture cookies. So it's basically chocolate chip cookies with a berry icing, frosting, and mini marshmallows to look like teeth. And so it's the scene where Beetlejuice pops out Adam's teeth and they are hopping around the floor. That's the inspiration for these cookies. I'm very intrigued by it. I read through the recipe, and there's a couple things I'm a little worried about, but once we bake the cookies, we cut them in half. And I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, I had all the ingredients except it needed dark chocolate chips. I did not have any of those, mini marshmallows, and a mixed berry medley. That's going to be used to make the icing in the middle. I had all the other ingredients: cornstarch, butter, salt, cream cheese, cocoa powder, flour, baking soda, brown sugar, regular sugar, vanilla. And the other thing, this cookbook, I really like it, don't get me wrong, but a couple flaws in it. A lot of the recipes I won't be doing because they need extra utensils that I don't have. And the way that the recipe reads, they just throw in the utensil acting like you should already have it. And that's a little confusing to me. So for instance, a couple of the recipes you need a brain mold, the silicone molds, one's shaped like a brain, one's shaped like a bat, one's shaped like eyeballs. And I'm like, I don't have all these Halloween themed molds lying around. And there's a couple other items. So this one, you need a 3-inch round cookie cutter. I don't have perfectly round cookie cutters, but what I do have is this glass jar, which is 3 inches round. So hopefully this will be enough to cut the cookies. We'll see. I like it. I just feel like maybe there should be, in the beginning, there should be a list of all the supplies that you'll need that aren't common. Because there's definitely a lot of Halloween themed utensils that I don't have. But luckily for this recipe, I only bought these 3 things, and we will improvise for the 3-inch cookie cutter. So there's 2 different ingredient lists, one for the cookie and one for the icing. So why is this butter a little darker than this butter? It's the same butter. This one I put out earlier to make it room temperature. I didn't realize I needed more butter. So this butter I just pulled out for the cookie recipe. It is not room temperature. I am so mad at myself. I'm very good about putting butter out early for room temperature, but I didn't see both supply lists, and so I grabbed the wrong one. And so I just read online, because you really don't want to microwave butter to soften it, because it doesn't soften evenly. You'll get a lot of completely melted butter, but then a chunk of not melted butter. So I'm going to try this method. It said warm a glass to make it super hot, and then put the glass over the butter, and then the heat should bring it to room temperature after a couple minutes. So we're going to try that real quick and see if it works. I think it's working. So this glass on top is super hot. I microwave this bowl by itself in the microwave for 3 minutes to make it super hot. It is microwavable safe. It's a Pyrex. And then I have the butter on this other glass tray. And as you can see, this is still hot. It does look like it's starting to melt. Hopefully come to room temperature. The next step is, because I want to beat the butter and the 2 sugars together, the brown sugar and the white sugar. But I want it to melt or just get a little more soft before I beat it together, because it's harder to beat if the butter is just out of the refrigerator. Another tip, if you're using vanilla and your lid gets stuck a lot, just run the lid over hot water. It will loosen it up in no time. I don't know, for whatever reason, when I have vanilla in a glass bottle, the lids always get stuck. So just run it under hot water for a minute. That hot bowl method to soften the butter quickly worked out really well. Let me turn that down a little bit. Now I'm adding, that was just the butter and the sugars. Now I'm adding the vanilla and the egg. And then I will slowly add in the dry mixtures, which was cocoa, flour, and baking soda. And this is forming the chocolate dough base, which my cocoa was kind of clumpy because it was, and now I kind of wish I would have sifted it, because I think it's gonna make my dough clumpy. We'll see. I really do hate when they tell you like make the cookies to a certain thickness. Not my strong suit, but I measured it with a glass. Now we'll see if I can get this on the cookie sheet. Come on, I want to keep the round shape. All right. All right, I can't say they're the roundest cookies because I think I spent too long pressing them down so they got really warm. So I'm gonna refreeze the dough, and this goes in the oven for, I think it was 10 to 12 minutes. Here are the cookies fresh out of the oven. So the next part in the recipe is what I was worried about. So the recipe calls to cut this cookie in half. So you're making 2 cookies out of 1 to make like a sandwich. Yeah, I don't think they're thick enough to do that. And I know I'm just gonna make a big mess. So I'm gonna use 2 cookies to make 1 sandwich, not 1 cookie cut in half. Maybe like if they were a lot thicker. I mean, they are pretty thick, but I'm just not comfortable with cutting them in half. It's just me and my husband. We're just gonna have a 1 thick cookie sandwich instead of, I don't know. I just feel like, and then like cutting them like when they're still warm like this, in my experience, they're just gonna fall apart. So this just does not sound right to me. So we're gonna use 2 cookies to make 1 sandwich. So let me get these on the cooling rack and I will start the next batch. Next step is to make basically berry syrup to add to the icing to make the flesh colored icing that goes in the dentures. So this is very similar to how if you ever made jams or jellies, we're gonna boil the berries down with a little sugar, a little water, boil it down until it thickens, and then strain out the juice, and then use that juice to add that to the icing to give it the color and flavor. So this is a small package, 12 ounces. It says 2 cups. 12 ounces is close enough to 2 cups for me. This is the berries cooked down with sugar. Now I'm pushing it and added a little starch to thicken it up as per the recipe. Danny, you just had dinner. You just had dinner an hour ago. If I give you a treat, don't tell anyone. Okay, so I'm pushing it through the mesh because we don't want any of these seeds. This is just like a strainer bowl I have. And so just trying to get the juice. Get some juice. There ain't tons of juice, but get some juice down there. So we have something to add to the cream cheese, which I don't need tons because we're only doing like 8 ounces of cream cheese and 4 tablespoons of butter. So it's not like I need tons of juice, but I will get what I can after I give Danny a snack real quick. Time to make the frosting. It's a cream cheese frosting. 8 ounces of cream cheese, room temperature, half a stick of butter, room temperature, beat that together, add the dash of vanilla, and then this berry mixture, and that will be making the frosting. I only used half of the berry mixture because I think this is plenty and I don't want to get it like too runny from the berry mixture. I'll just save this. It's essentially jelly at this point, so I'll have it on my toast or bagels this week. So now we're going to frost the cookies and add the teeth, the marshmallow teeth. Here we go. I actually think they look pretty good. So it made 6 sandwiches. And there's a little bit of icing left over. All right, taste test time. They do look good. This actually would look really good for a Halloween party because it does kind of look like it. Does it look like a mouth to you, Dentures?
It does, they're teeth.
Teeth?
Tombstone teeth.
So, but they are big. It's a big bite. That's a big bite. The cookies taste like brownies.
What's in the middle?
It's a cream cheese frosting. Do you like it?
I don't know.
You don't have to like it. You can be honest.
It's a little weird.
I don't.
Is there salt in it?
There's salt in the cookie, not in the icing.
No, I specifically taste salt. You didn't like shake some salt on it just to
No,
get back
honey.
at me.
I mean, no. I kind of like it, but it's 1 a.m.
I like them separate.
So-
them separate.
I would do that. I would do that chocolate chip cookie recipe again.
I don't think it's a good mix.
I don't like the frosting. I don't like the frosting at all. But the actual chocolate chip cookies, I would do the chocolate chip cookies by
What
themselves.
are you doing?
Yeah, I don't like the frosting.
It reminds me of something.
It's not very sweet, and it should be because the berries have like a half a cup of sugar in them. How is it not sweet?
Very salty.
They look good, and that's all that
Okay,
matters.
that's all that matters.
It's like something you'd get at Disney.
It is.
It looks good, but it don't taste good. But this chocolate chip cookie,
It's weird.
I like the cookie.